I'm just going to share how I fill up my bird feeders. Got this great cardinal mix that I just buy from the local feed supply. And I used to pour it into this big container. Found this is an easier way to do it. Just fill that up. Put the bag in there. And what's great about this container for tube feeders is you just undo this end and it goes right in the tube. So I'll go out here to where the tube feeder is. Tube feeders, I get everybody out here. Since I live just 2 miles inland from Lake Michigan, it's a north-south flyway for birds. So you get bluebirds, you get, I don't know, we probably get I think when they do bird counts, you literally get hundreds of varieties of birds. But the great thing about this is you just take the end of it off, put it in the tube feeder, I'll just fill the tube feeder right up. So usually what I do is I fill this plastic container almost all the way up. Fill this up, and on the suet feeder you get lots of birds, lots of woodpeckers, downy woodpecker, red-headed woodpecker, blue jays on the suet feeder that's going to hang here. And here we get smaller birds. They black-capped chickadees, juncos, nuthatches, bluebirds, everybody feeds on this feeder. Then out here, got a little bit of a modified platform feeder. And they say to be successful, to have successful bird feeders, you need a couple things. You need a source of water. About a half mile to the left here is the Milwaukee River. You need cover. I got some stressed out evergreens here, which is pretty much all of southern Wisconsin. They just can't take the summer heat. So you've got protection, and then you've got to have a source of food. So here, I'll just take what's left. I only do the front side because I want to be able to see the birds. And cardinals love this. Cardinals, mourning doves love this because they can sit there. Cardinals love platform feeders the best. It is squirrel proof. They can't come up from the bottom. I on purpose put this far enough away from the evergreen. This has been here for 3 or 4 years now. When these evergreen branches were full, I just knew that the squirrel's weight could not push off and jump to there, and that's been the case. So we don't have any issues with squirrels getting in here. Do get some crows in there. If I do see them, I chase them away. But cardinals love feeding on that, and they just sit in here. We've had as many as 5 or 6 pairs of cardinals out there. All right, so got that tube feeder set up. I'm going to go back in here and set up the suet feeder. I buy a suet feeder usually online from Amazon. It's just easier instead of going to Home Depot. Let me adjust the camera here. Okay, so on the suet feeder, 2-sided, I just open it up, and this is a peanut butter suet. It doesn't melt in the summer, and some of these get kind of slimy in the summer. I just like to leave them in the container, put them like that. Then I used to have a problem with a raccoon, but I don't know if Wile E. Coyote took care of the raccoon that was here. But he would get up here and, I don't have my pruners here, so we'll just cut that. Then I'll put the other one on the other side. You can see when I go out there, I've got bells on both of my feeders, so the squirrels literally can't get to them. It's a matter of high school geometry, teaching you angles and going, okay, the squirrel's not going to be able to jump from that angle. So, wire tie on each side. Like I said, blue jays, woodpeckers, even some of the smaller birds. Cardinals will go on here once in a while. if they can reach this when this is first put up. And this summer, this is a big garden right here. Tilt the camera back up. So, let's put this in here. And it's up high enough that squirrels can't jump from the ground. The geometry is such that they can't jump to this, and if they do, they'll just fall right off. I've even sprayed Pam on there in the summer to slip off. I really don't have any problems with squirrels. The squirrels here last week when I was filling this up. And this is the birds' merry-go-round. It's funny to watch them out of the bay window as this goes around in the wind. And the birds will just sit there going, "Hey Bob, look, they got an amusement park here for us." You see the same thing in the tube feeder. I've got a bell on that and far enough away from any branches that the squirrels can't jump to it. I do fill these up. There's a big wind here the last couple weeks, so these are a little askew. But I do have bird feeders that I constantly refresh in the summer to give them a source of fresh water too. Make sure there's no leaves in it, minimize it. Birds don't appear to be too particular about their water quality, but there's plenty of places for birds to feed around here. I live on 13 acres, and these are alfalfa fields. So between alfalfa, corn up the street, there's farms all over the place, a golf course across the street. So the birds love it here. So they've got the coverage with these very stressed evergreens that at some point in the next 2 or 3 years will come down. They said they just can't stand the change in temperatures. The hot temperatures in the summer are really tough for them. 20 years ago, when I moved back to the Midwest here to Wisconsin, these trees were not stressed. But every evergreen is having a rough time here in southern half of Wisconsin. You go north of Wausau, you go up to upper Michigan, evergreens are fine. So that's it. That's how I feed these, or set up these bird feeders, is a tube feeder and the suet feeder. I've got some pruning to do on this flowering crab. I don't like flowering crabs personally. I've only planted one in 45 years because a client was adamant they wanted one. I don't like the fact that they are prone to tent caterpillars. Depending on the season, they might only bloom. I mean, this is magnificent when it blooms. It's full of pink blooms, but it only blooms for a week or two. And then if we have a really hot summer, which we've been having more of, basically almost all the leaves are off of it by the end of September. No fall color, no interest. So it's a tree that was here. If that comes down, I'll plant some other more compact type trees to give the birds a source of it. Of course, the birds do like the berries on here, especially in the fall when they ferment a little bit. It's a nice fine wine to them. And you will see birds don't fly into the windows here at all in spring, summer, but late fall when they are drinking these fermented berries or eating these fermented berries, every so often they will slam into the window. They are FUI, flying under the influence of very fermented berries. I don't know what the alcohol content is, but for the tiny bird's body, it whacks them out. So that's it. It looks like I'm going to have to start pruning. I like to prune my hydrangea down in sometime in March, and we'll do a complete review of the gardens. I leave all the debris here for a number of reasons. It helps insulate the root system. It's much easier to remove them in the spring than trying to remove them in the fall when they are still green. Some people like to leave it because it's a bed for insects and stuff that's underneath there. But you can see over here I did not cut or pull the daylily stems out of here. And false indigo, got these big clumps right here, fantastic plant. Some dwarf lilacs that have done well. And then the deer have just decimated this. I have to admit, I did not spray this in the middle of the winter. So they've decimated these creeping phlox right here. But that's fine because it will push back completely, and then I'll spray it with a deer repellent in the spring. So it does cut it back tight, but it will push out again. It just hasn't been warm enough. Usually there's a warm spell in January above 45 degrees where I can come out here and spray the deer repellent on there, but it's been a cold winter, just no snow. I've only had to shovel the driveway once. And then over here on the Telluride sumac, the deer have also beat it up pretty bad. I don't know if it's because it's got a felt on here like it does like their antlers, if that feels good to rub on. They've decimated this. I wasn't really happy with how this has been growing. I'll probably pull that out this year and put something else in there. But part of my conversation was, I guess, to talk about filling bird feeders. But in order to have successful bird feeders, you have to have plants and a garden that welcome them in here. So that's it from Southeast Wisconsin and Getting Dirty with Glenn. Remember to lead with love and kindness.